Yo, what's up, dudes? It's your brother, Eagle Brother, and today, man, we're going to be diving into a pretty big topic, a pretty big debate that is sparking up all over the place, the Borderlands 4 drop rates. Now, some people, including myself, love the grind of Borderlands 2, where getting the perfect legendary feels like winning the lottery, while others prefer Borderlands 3 while legendaries drop like candy. It's got me thinking, what does Borderlands 4 do in this case? So today, we're going to be breaking down both systems, checking out some of the community opinions, and figuring out which one really gets that dopamine flowing. Let's get into it, man. Before we really dive into it, man, I just want to throw out that I do see both sides. I see the more casual player being on the Borderlands 3 end, where getting a legendary within the first 15 to 20 levels is something that they want to see more frequently, versus the more nostalgic Borderlands 2, Borderlands 1 fan base, where the grind has been there and really what made Borderlands what it is today. So we're starting off with Borderlands 2 and the notoriously low world drop legendary right now. When it comes to dedicated drops, that's a little bit of a different story. Of course, that's sitting around usually a 10% drop rate depending on the enemy and the weapon you're going for. However, as for world drop legendary weapons, it's at about a 0.03% chance, which is roughly 1 in 3,333 you're going to get a world drop. I will say, going through my Borderlands 2 playthrough, man, I don't even know if I came across a world drop, unless it's a specific boss, as I mentioned. The world drop's very rare. However, when you do get a world drop, man, that feels a little bit differently than when you get a Borderlands 3 world drop, which is around a 1 to 2% drop chance. Of course, that can be increased at the end game, particularly with the Schluter artifact, as some of you guys know. But either way, man, you're seeing these world drops a lot more so in Borderlands 3 than you are in Borderlands 2. And you guys can see here, man, in Borderlands 3 with the Schluter artifact active, these are the amount of legendaries. And I know I get a lot of, well, you're using the Schluter artifact. Don't use the Schluter artifact. And of course, who's not going to use the best drop rate gear possible at that point? But the fact that that is an option in the game, and even in there without mods, is pretty wild to me. And at that point, with the amount of legendaries that Borderlands 3 is dropping us, the majority of them are unusable. Of course, anointments come into the question, where anointments really do make or break weapons. You can get a good anointment on a crap weapon that will absolutely shred, and vice versa. There are obviously some really good weapons in Borderlands 3. I'm not saying that there isn't. However, there's a lot that are not good. And at that point, where does legendary stand? Do rarities even make a difference? I don't know. And putting that up against Borderlands 2, I'm farming Midgemong 66 times to get myself a Kerblaster, which is not a good gun at all. All right, man, attempt number freaking 66, bro. But you can hear my reaction to finally getting this thing. Come on. Oh, we got it, bro. Oh my god. Y'all are not ruining this moment right now, bro. And no, I'm not running around using the Kerblaster by any means, but the fact that it took that grind to finally get that weapon really shows the meaning behind the legendary versus what we're seeing in Borderlands 3. Now, one of the big things I've seen in a lot of the comments that I've been getting in some of these YouTube shorts on the difference between the two is timing. Do we have enough time to farm these legendary weapons? No. We have jobs, we have lives, we can't sit there and farm weapons and gear, etc., which I totally understand, and some people are different, man. Some people want to see those legendaries right off the bat. Some players like to grind for their legendaries, which is the category that I fall into. And with that argument, what that really does is it talks about the longevity of the game. Even if you don't have the time each day or each week to farm these Borderlands 2 legendaries, I still find myself playing Borderlands 2 like crazy. I know there's a lot of you that play Borderlands 2. Borderlands 3 is still being played quite a bit. However, it really depends on what you want to spend your time on. Do you want to spend your time looting and farming for these legendary rare weapons? Or do you just want to kind of have a casual gameplay, go through side quests, run around shooting, killing things? Either way, I could see both sides of it. But what that also does is it does hurt the longevity of Borderlands 3, because at that point, once you get everything quicker, there's really nothing else you need to do. Yes, you could farm rare parts, you could farm specific anointments, things like that, but casual players are not going to be doing that. They're not going to be farming for those rare parts, those rare items, and then they're more likely to just move on from Borderlands in general. So that could be a big play and a big factor into the Borderlands 4 just longevity in general, because at this point in Borderlands 3, man, if I have every legendary or all the good ones at least, there's really nothing else that you need to do. Now let's talk about the end game loot drops, because of course with Borderlands 2, You guys probably know that the end game drop rates don't really have an effect on the amount of legendaries that you're getting versus Borderlands 3, where you are in mayhem mode. You do have the Schluter artifact. You're getting legendaries a lot more than you were early game, which is kind of rewarding. And I do see the point where you finally get your character up, you finally get through the mayhem modes, and yes, you're going to get more legendary loot. Now, if Borderlands 3 had implemented a new looting system, a new rarity, a pearlescent, a seraph, effervescent, whatever it might be, if they introduced that to actually have those be kind of a Borderlands 2 grind style weapon or items, I think that would really take that game to the next level, because a lot of us really want that feeling. We really want that rare farm. We want to farm these bosses for, I don't know, 50 times, 100 times, and finally get what we're looking for. Because when it finally does drop, it gives us that a sense of accomplishment, that dopamine of us really grinding for these weapons and making them a lot better and kind of standing out. And that's what Borderlands 2 didn't really do with the pearlescent weapons. They didn't make them as good. Of course, yeah, there are a few good ones in there, but they didn't make them top tier weapons. There's a lot more legendaries that are going to be better than those pearl weapons. They could keep the legendaries as is, and then just have those pearlescent, let's say, for example, be very overpowered, very good items. Then that could take the Borderlands 2 fan base or those grindy fans to get back into Borderlands 3. But overall, man, big hopes for Borderlands 4. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on the drop rates. What do you prefer? Because honestly, I can see both sides. I could see the more casual players wanting to see legendaries a lot more. I could see the more kind of dedicated, focused players on getting those rare items, wanting to be a little bit more on the rare side of things with Borderlands 2. I see both sides, so let me know in the comments below what you think. For me personally, in Borderlands 4, I would probably prefer a little bit of a middle ground. I think a 0.03% world drop rate that Borderlands 2 has is crazy. However, when you do finally see one pop out of nowhere, man, it gives you a great feeling. And Borderlands 3 does have overkill with the legendaries if they added a new rarity without even really having to tone the legendaries down. With giving us a new rarity, I think that would get a lot of players back into Borderlands 3 that may have stepped away from it because they've gotten everything that they needed to get. But as always, dudes, really appreciate you guys for stopping by. If you do enjoy the content, man, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Sub to the channel. Let's have a discussion. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. And of course, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.